For decades, the story of how humans reached the Americas was considered settled. The consensus was that roughly 15,000 years ago, the first populations migrated from Siberia, waiting to cross over until massive continental ice sheets began to melt. As those towering glaciers finally retreated, they opened passable land corridors. This allowed nomadic hunter-gatherers to filter south into North America, slowly spreading across the hemisphere. But in 2020, a paper published in the journal Nature challenged that entire timeline. This image shows the interior of Chiquihuite Cave, located 9,000 feet up in the mountains of central Mexico. Archaeologists dug deep into the cave floor, unearthing materials buried beneath layers of Ice Age sediment. The researchers claim to have found evidence of human occupation dating back 33,000 years. This would place a human population in the heart of the continent long before the last glacial maximum, while those northern ice corridors were still completely blocked. Take a close look at this rock. The evidence for this ancient occupation consists entirely of roughly 1,900 broken stones exactly like this one. In all those deep layers of dirt, the team found no human bones, no human DNA, and no fire hearths. Researchers are now weighing two competing explanations. Either these stones belong to a previously undetected population that vanished without a trace, or they are the debris of a collapsing cave ceiling. The team that excavated Chiquihuite argues these stones are human-made tools, starting with the material they are made of. Almost 90% of the recovered fragments consist of a specific green and black recrystallised limestone. That rock isn't found naturally inside the cave, suggesting someone had to carry it in from the outside. Archaeologists also point to use wear, the physical patterns of chipping and scratching that occur when a stone is intentionally modified and used for specific tasks. Looking at this specific piece, researchers identify marginal retouching. They point to the tiny, precise flakes removed along these outer edges, arguing the stones were deliberately sharpened for cutting or scraping. The excavation team categorizes this collection as a microlithic industry, a term for tools made from very small, deliberately shaped stone blades. They argue this represents a sophisticated technology that was already mature 30,000 years ago. If this evidence is validated, early migrants were intentionally sourcing specific raw materials and bringing complex tool-making practices up into a high-altitude mountain environment. However, a vocal group of opposing archaeologists argues that we are actually looking at geofacts, naturally broken rocks that only mimic human tools. Look at Chiquihuite Cave's environment, a high-energy site with steep walls, a sloping floor, and heavy roof collapses. When tons of limestone plummet, the kinetic impact mimics a human hammerstone, fracturing rocks into shards that look remarkably like crude tools. Then there's the issue of material. This specific limestone is notoriously difficult to work, yet high-quality chert, the gold standard for stone tools, is available just a few miles from the cave. It is unclear why mobile hunters would spend centuries using inferior rock while ignoring a superior source in their own backyard. Critics also question the timeline. The proposed dates suggest this specific tool technology remained completely unchanged for 10,000 years. Typically, human cultures adapt, innovate, and alter their tools over such vast spans of time. Finally, there is the missing secondary evidence. A site occupied for that long should be filled with the trash of daily life, the remains of cooking fires, butchered animal bones, or traces of human DNA. At Chiquihuite Cave, there is absolutely none of that. Without that context, skeptical archaeologists argue this is a case of equifinality, where blind geological forces produce the exact same physical result as human ingenuity. The original excavation team pushes back, suggesting that critics are dismissing the site because it doesn't match our narrow expectations of what Ice Age technology should look like. Even amidst this debate, the broader scientific landscape is shifting. While the stones at Chiquihuite are contested, the idea that humans arrived in the Americas much earlier than 15,000 years ago is gaining solid traction. Look at this recent discovery at White Sands, New Mexico. Researchers uncovered clear human footprints preserved in an ancient lakebed. They date back 23,000 years, placing humans in North America right in the middle of the deepest freeze. The difference lies in the type of evidence. Gravity and falling rocks cannot forge a human footprint, but they can forge a sharp stone edge, leaving the Chiquihuite fragments shrouded in ambiguity. The controversy captures the friction inherent in prehistoric archaeology. To push the timeline of human arrival back by 20,000 years, the evidence must be distinct enough to separate the work of human hands from the random physics of a rockfall.